Welcome back. In the previous class, we introduced the estrangement clarity map, which describes the stages many people move through when a relationship breaks down. We talked about shock and grief, and we began exploring why the mind becomes so focused on searching the past for answers. Today, we will look more closely at the second stage of the map, interpretation. Understanding interpretation is extremely important because it helps explain why two people can experience the same relationship and come away with completely different conclusions about what happened. To begin, it helps to understand what a belief system is. A belief system is the collection of ideas, expectations, and definitions a person uses to understand the world. Beliefs develop over time through many influences. They may come from family experiences, personal history, cultural expectations, emotional wounds, or major life events. These beliefs quietly shape how people interpret the behavior of others. In relationships, beliefs influence how someone defines ideas like love, respect, independence, and control. Two people may care deeply about each other and still carry very different definitions of these things. Because of this, the same action can be interpreted in completely different ways. For example, a parent may offer advice about finances or career decisions because they genuinely want to help. From the parent's perspective, this may feel like support and care, but the adult child may interpret the same advice as criticism, pressure, or interference. Nothing about the action itself has changed. What changes is the interpretation of the action. This is one of the reasons estrangement situations can become so confusing. When people try to explain their intentions, they are often speaking from their own belief system, but the other person may be hearing the explanation through an entirely different set of emotional filters. In those situations, the conversation can begin to feel as though two people are living in completely different realities. One person believes they were trying to help. The other believes they were being controlled. Both individuals feel certain about their interpretation, and both interpretations feel real to the person experiencing them. Understanding this does not mean that every interpretation is equally accurate. But it does help explain why misunderstandings can grow over time, especially if they are never openly examined. Another important point to understand is that interpretations are often influenced by emotional history. If someone has experienced criticism, rejection, or pressure in other areas of life, they may become more sensitive to anything that resembles those experiences. In those situations, an action that was meant to be supportive can trigger feelings that have roots in earlier experiences. This does not mean the person is intentionally misinterpreting the situation. It means their emotional history is influencing how they perceive the interaction. When estrangement occurs, it is often because interpretations of the relationship have gradually moved further and further apart. One person believes the relationship has been supportive or loving. The other person may come to believe that the same relationship was harmful, restrictive, or unsafe. Once those interpretations become deeply established, conversations about the past can become very difficult. Each person believes they are describing the truth, but they may be describing very different interpretations of the same events. Recognizing this possibility can be surprisingly relieving for many people. It helps explain why explanations and apologies sometimes fail to resolve the situation. If the other person's interpretation of the relationship has already solidified, new information may not easily change that interpretation. Instead of bringing clarity, the conversation may feel like it leads to more frustration. This is why the next step in the estrangement clarity map becomes so important. At some point, the mind asks a very direct question. Did I actually cause harm? Until that question is examined carefully and honestly, the mind will continue searching for answers. Some people assume the worst and carry heavy guilt for years. Others may dismiss the question entirely and miss opportunities for growth. Neither extreme leads to clarity. The next class will focus on harm clarification, which is one of the most important parts of the entire process. We will look carefully at how to distinguish between three different possibilities: real harm, ordinary relationship conflict, and situations where the separation may have developed without a clear pattern of harmful behavior. Understanding these differences allows people to move forward with honesty, self-respect, and a much clearer view of the situation. See you in the next class.